I want to come on here and just share something, and I want some time to talk about it because I know a lot of you out there are still struggling with the devastating repercussions of growing up in a childhood filled with trauma. And I'm a coach and a healer for highly sensitives, empaths, and just those that aren't on that normal, whatever normal is anymore, wavelength, just neurodivergent, that kind of thing. And I am also a survivor of CPTSD, complex PTSD from childhood trauma, and have done tons of work, therapy, coaching, healing, many different modalities over the years. And I'm a trauma informed coach, so I help a lot of clients with similar situations. And that, traditional therapy just doesn't help us with. Not that it's not right, it's needed as well, but that I'm really like that coach for people that need just something different if that hasn't been working. And I wanted to share something because I'm in the middle of writing a book, and I've been writing it for a few years now, and I'm in this stage of like organizing materials. Many years ago, I took all my old journals and pulled out anything that was necessary that I thought to keep, put it in a document on my computer, typed it all up. And so I'm at the point where I'm organizing different pieces. And I wanted to share a story in my book about meeting my biological dad for the first time, because my mom never told him about me and never told me about him. Obviously, I'm a kid. I know that I've got a dad. And I was reading this part that I had written, and it was almost cringy. It was cringy because in it, I shared when I met him for the first time, which, by the way, did not end well. Started well, didn't end well. When I met him for the first time, I write in this journal from about like 16 years ago that I felt like a traitor, that I missed my mom. I mean, that was the cringiest part of me reading this, that I had missed my mom and that I had felt like a traitor. And this is what abuse does to us, right? It makes us feel loyal. Not only that, it's like society tells us you have to like love your mother and family is everything and all of this stuff. And we feel these entanglements and these loyalties to our family, even though they may be abusive. And I think I see so many people struggle with that. My mom and I currently don't have a relationship, and that was her choice many years ago. She stopped speaking to me because I addressed some things with her that she just didn't want to hear. So that was actually one of the hardest things, but one of the biggest blessings, because it helped me to untangle those loyalties and to really find myself. And that was a long time ago. But I wanted to share, because going back to what I had written, literally just read this, I felt like a traitor. I wrote that I felt like a traitor and that I missed my mom. And I literally was just cringing reading this, because from a more whole, healed place now, that is the farthest thing from the truth, that I would miss this person, because I see how toxic she is. And, she has her own demons, and this, I'm not here to beat up moms or anything like that. But those of you that have grown up with a narcissist, an alcoholic, an addict of some sort, and emotionally unavailable, my mom was not physically abusive, but emotionally, verbally abusive. So in the very next paragraph, I wrote, so I get home, I'm feeling like this traitor. I haven't told her that I just met my dad for the first time, because that was a big taboo topic to her. Like, why would I ever go seeking meeting my biological father? So I go in the house, and I must have had my dog with her. I had a dog at the time. And I guess she started screaming at me, your dog puked everywhere. And in the document, I'm writing that she's throwing stuff. And I can't tell you, you guys, it instantly brought me back. And I'm actually speaking here so I can help relieve some of that energy that I felt reading that. It just kind of, because when you're so far removed from that toxic behavior, you almost forget what it was like. And in that moment, I took myself right back there. And I'm okay, and it's fine. And I think it's actually important to leave in the document that will become my book, because it does paint this picture of daily occurrences with her. And that, from all the learning I've done, and trust me, I've done a lot of learning on growing up in traumatized households. That's one of the things I learned is it's called CUTS. Chronic, unpredictable, toxic stress. And they did a study on this with rats, and they put rats in these unpredictable environments. They'd flash lights at different times a day versus or they would not feed them at certain times. Different things that would produce stress in a rat versus another group where they had a controlled stress, every day at 12 o'clock, a light would go off or something. And they studied the brains of these rats, and the ones that were put in this chronic, unpredictable, toxic stress had huge decreases in their brain functioning, and were more apt for depression, would kind of just do little rat depression where they mope around and want to be alone or different things like that, versus the ones that had the predictable stress. Even though that caused some changes in their brains, it wasn't to the extent of the unpredictable toxic stress. And that's what I grew up in. And I think a lot of you probably had some of that as well. Not everybody has had trauma or childhood trauma, thankfully, but I think probably those of you that are following me probably have had some of that. And so I'm just here to share all of this because, number one, we want to be really aware of these unconscious loyalties we have to family members who are toxic. Not only that, I'm a bridge. I bring psychology and spirituality together. I've studied both extensively over the years, and both have helped me immensely. I have a degree in psychology. I'm not a psychologist, but I have a degree in psychology, so I love anything psychology, but also spirituality. I really find so much depth and meaning from. And one of the techniques I have just learned and am starting to incorporate in my work is called family constellation work. And that's where we go back and we heal, or rather release, the unconscious burdens we're carrying generation to generation. And we do this out of a loyalty to our family. So that's more on an esoteric standpoint. But I want you to be aware of where you have these unconscious loyalties to family members here in the physical world. Because we can also release those that you have to ancestors that you're not completely unaware of. And I find that most people that are traumatized have these entanglements. And so if you're still speaking to a toxic parent, I know for some people you can't just stop talking to them. But I will tell you that studies have shown that it decreases recovery time because, again, we can get tangled up in those stories and those loyalties very easily. So I'm not telling you to stop speaking to your family by any means, but if you can decrease the amount of time, the consistency, and also having some protection of yourself when you go into those conversations could be really helpful. I'll be sharing other tips as well, but today this is really just to share my story, share a little piece of my book that will be coming out this year. And yeah, if you are somebody out there who is struggling as an adult from childhood trauma, I see you. I understand what you're going through. And if you need any support, reach out.